And we start our meeting tonight. I would like to introduce our Toastmaster of the night, who is Caleb. Caleb, take it away.
Thank you, President Claire. Hello, everyone. My name is Caleb, and today it is an honor to be your Toastmaster. To get started, I would like to start by introducing our functionaries. First off, could we have our all counter, Ethan, tell us a little bit more about the all counter's role?
Sure. All right, let me open everything up. As your slightly ill and very nasally voiced odd counter for the evening, I will note words and sounds used as a crunch or pause filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as at, and, well, but, so, and sounds may be er. That last sound is basically my brain right now, so hopefully everything goes fine.
Thank you, Ethan, and we do sincerely hope you get well soon. Next, we will be moving on to our grammarian, who is Janya.
Thank you, Caleb. As a grammarian, I will be listening of the word of the day, which is mellifluous. I still don't get how to pronounce it, but I will be sending it in the chat. I encounter anyone speaking encourage anyone speaking during any part of the meeting to use it. Throughout the meeting, I will listen to everyone's word usage and write down any awkward use or misuse of grammar. Thank you.
Thank you, Janya, and I truly hope that everyone speaks in a mellifluous manner throughout the meeting today. Lastly, we will go to our timer, who is Eliana.
As a timer, I will monitor time for each speaker. Throughout the meeting, I will listen carefully to the program participant and signal them. And I will use green at the minimum required time, yellow at the middle of the expected time, and red at the end of the allotted or agreed upon time. I will also record each participant's name and actual time used.
Thank you, Eliana. And before we move on to introducing the general evaluator, I have noticed that our speaker 2, Michelle, and our evaluator 2, Michelle, are ironically not absent. So does anyone want to take the evaluator 2 role in the event that Michelle does pop into the meeting? Oh, here's Michelle. So would someone like to take the evaluator 2 role, which is currently Alex? Someone who does not have a role tonight? Let's see, who doesn't have a role? I think Devin nor Claire have roles tonight. So would one of you like to be evaluator 2?
Yeah, Caleb, I can go ahead and be the evaluator.
All right, great. Now we will go on to introducing the general evaluator of tonight's meeting, who is Rachel.
As the general evaluator, I will be providing an evaluation of the functionaries and evaluation reports. I will also be providing an evaluation of the meeting as a whole, and I will also be eating for a bit. So that's why my camera will be off for a little, but I will still be general evaluating. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Rachel. Hope you catch up on dinner. And with that said, we will move on to our first speaker of tonight, who is Angelina Jen. Please help me welcome Angelina.
Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. So, as many of you might know, during June of 2024, I traveled to China. I've given a speech about my first destination, and today I'll be talking about my next destination, which is Ujjain. Today I will talk about a park that I visited with beautiful scenery and show you guys photos of some of the things that I saw there, along with my new experiences with the traditional elements of Chinese culture. When my family and I visited Tianjin, which was the first destination I went to, I met my dad's side of the family. He has a lot of close relatives there, so there are often many people coming and going from my house to meet us. However, when I traveled to Ujjain this time, I will be meeting people from my mom's side of the family. To get there, my uncle picked us up and we drove there. The car ride was long and we stopped by the road to buy a few watermelons since it was a very hot day. My grandfather on my mom's side of the family also grows crops such as cucumber and lettuce, just like my dad's side of the family. When I got out of the car, my uncle set off a pack of fireworks in front of the house. I was very startled and confused as to why he did so. It turns out that there are a lot of Chinese traditions that I did not know about. Among these included setting off fireworks when you first meet your relatives and giving them money in red packets to your relatives when you first meet them. It's also a tradition to set off fireworks and kowtow 3 times in front of the grave of the deceased. I learned this when my uncle and my mom took us to my grandmother's grave. There was a lot of grass growing around the grave, and my grandfather had to manually make a path through the grass to find the tomb. When we got there, we burned some incense and some paper money, and my grandfather placed a mat on the ground. Then everyone proceeded to kowtow 3 times in front of the tombstone to pay our respects. I followed their lead, and after everyone had finished, we set off a pack of fireworks before leaving. This was my first time experiencing traditional Chinese culture like this, and I enjoyed this experience very much. During my stay in Ujjain, I also visited a popular park. First, my family and I went to my uncle's house to cool down since it was extremely hot during the June of 2020. There, I also met my cousin, and together my cousin, uncle, and family drove over to a popular park nearby. The name of this park is Xishan Scenic Park, and there I was able to see a lot of traditional Chinese architecture and Asian artifacts. I also ate traditional Chinese cuisine at a restaurant near the park and met some of my other family members. It was very hot during the few days we stayed there, so other than going to the park and walking around the neighborhood, we spent most of our time in my grandfather's house. After staying for a few days at my grandfather's house, my uncle drove us to the train station. The train station was extremely big and unlike the train stations here in America. There were many levels and platforms, and it was much cleaner than what we usually see here. We got there a bit early, so we sat there and waited for a while. We were headed to our next destination, Hangzhou, which is a city in China known for its natural beauty, vibrant history, and culture. We would be taking a sleeper train, which is a train that actually contains bunk beds and is for overnight travel. My parents wanted us to experience what it was like traveling on one of these trains, especially because technology had advanced so much. I will now explain how the train looked like. So each compartment on the train was split off into multiple small sections. It's like little boxes without doors. Each wall had 3 bunk beds attached to it with a small table in the middle. There's very little space left between the compartment wall and the beds, but people can still walk through it. There were also tables and foldable chairs along the wall. Above the table and chairs is a long rack where people would put their suitcases and baggage. Room was very tight in each compartment, and if you were to get the middle or top bunk, you might not even be able to fully sit up. However, despite the limited amount of space, I really enjoyed traveling in this kind of train for the first time. The train ride took a total of 10 hours, and we arrived very late. My parents had a friend that was kind enough to pick us up and drive us to our hotel, and I fell asleep as soon as I got there. We did a lot of fun things in my next destination, Hangzhou, and we visited a lot of tourist attractions such as the West Lake as well, but that is for the next speech. During the few days we stayed there, my parents also met their old classmates who showed us around the city. I really valued my visit to Uzhou. It was my first time experiencing a lot of the aspects of traditional Chinese culture that you wouldn't really get to experience here in America. The few days I stayed in Uzhou were not very eventful, but it was a much needed break from the fast-moving city life that I am used to being in. Walking around the neighborhood really opened my eyes to how lucky I was compared to some other people. If you guys ever get the chance, try staying in a rural area for a few days and see how life moves through people there. It's really different from regular city life that most of us are used to, and it gives you the opportunity to have a moment to reflect. Besides this, I also enjoyed being able to visit my grandfather since it was my first time getting to meet him. Overall, staying in Uzhou not only allowed me to reflect on myself, but it also allowed me to better understand and connect with my culture. I'm very happy that I got the opportunity to stay in Uzhou, and I hope that I will have more experiences like it. So now I would like to share a presentation with some of the photos that I took during my stay there. A lot of these are from the national park that we went to. So can you guys see my screen? Okay, so this is what the entrance of the park looks like when you first walk in. And this is a map of the whole park. It's a very big park, but we were only able to explore a little section of it. So this park had a lot of temples, like you might see on the picture on the right here. And these red strips, people will write a lot of their wishes and dreams and tie it to a branch around the tree. We also visited one of the gardens in the park where there was a pond with fish and fountains. And this is a picture I took after I climbed one of the towers there, and it basically overlooks this whole section of the city. Okay, that is all. Thank you, and back to you, Professor Taylor.
Thank you so much, Angelina, for sharing us that wonderful speech about your trip to China, and we thoroughly enjoyed hearing about your trip as well as seeing your pictures. Now we will move on to our next speaker of tonight, who is Michelle. Please help me welcome Michelle.
Michelle, why aren't you listening to me? Speaking with you like make up your mind? You're a student. Now get out. Give me a break too. I deserve it. Oh my gosh. Now that she's away, I can finally say, hello, future Cavaliers. Have you ever had that one person that you want to bash their skull so much? Whoa, okay. Ignore that. That's not a dead body in my room. Alrighty. Cause oh boys, I do have them. And I have two teachers that are currently making me want to rip myself into pieces. Now imagine this. You're in your elective period and the school day's about to come to an end. As you sit in a chair, impatiently waiting, your teacher suddenly yells out angrily, Tatiana! Cause, oh boy, this happened to me every day of my life, sadly. Now, Michelle! Calm down, sir. Now, Tatiana is a quote-unquote famous student in my classroom who sits right next to me and gets in trouble every single day by my teacher, Dr. Trent, for either wanting to go to the restroom or quote unquote disrupting the class. And now this teacher, the way she acts, makes me want to like grab a bat and bash her brain until it's into a mush of like flesh.
Wait, not again!
Sorry, too morbid. But it's true. Yesterday we had a whole debate session in our podcasting classroom about Tatiana. Dr. Trent saying Tatiana goes to the restroom every day. And can you stop disrupting me? Even if Tatiana's trying to defend herself and it's an emergency type situation for her restroom situation. And I'm going off a little bit off topic, but a bit on topic to people we hate. Dr. Trent, for my experience, my bad, Dr. Trent is a horrible and constantly blaming students as and alt-right.
You're a horrible student right there. You're a horrible student.
Yeah,
You're a horrible
she's a
student.
little bit deadly honest. And she's just all out horrible. And whenever people speak out about her behavior, she just deflects the claims, stating, "That's just an accusation. You have no proof." When we have a class full of witnesses.
Look at this. This is her grade. Look at this. Look
No,
at
wait,
this.
no, not my F. Get out the way.
No.
Get out. Anyways, now before I yap so much about Dr. Trent that I will literally explode from anger and have a full-on panic attack, I will move on to the next teacher that I will be talking about and I dislike a little bit. Now, this teacher, she barely does anything to actually help teach me or my class in general. She just puts on some videos and audio to teach us, quote unquote. And also, she assigns us hundreds of projects and assignments. As soon as we get them done, bam, another assignment. And to be honest, it's a little bit overwhelming. A little bit. And this teacher is my social studies teacher, Miss Roney, and I will not be hiding any of their names. So you guys can gladly take in that information. Now I struggle with her subject. I am failing her class. She has failed almost the entire school. But anyways, I dislike her. Now picture this, you're struggling and you raise your hand to ask her a question.
Ask 3 times than me!
No, but I have a question about... Give me that wig. Anyways, and that was so embarrassing for me. I don't want to ask 3 people because I'm like an Asian NPC. I literally do not speak to my classmates. And I'm like the rat. I'm the rat from Ratatouille, except they can't cook. I can't cook. I will burn down the kitchen. And I do not believe she actually has bad intentions. But I'm just sensitive and a kind of a like B word. Yeah. And now before I rant any more longer and go off topic, I'm pretty sure I went off topic. It should have been the teachers I hate the most. But now I want to end it off right here and tell all of you guys that sometimes you just have to work with people you dislike. And that's okay. You'll just learn and adapt from it. And learn not to speak out. Don't be like me, guys. I got in trouble in Miss Roney's class. And now I'm done. Back to you, Kayla.
Thank you, Michelle, for sharing that speech with us and that very powerful lesson, because I'm sure all of us have to interact with very difficult people, and there's nothing we can do about it. So thank you, Michelle, for sharing your speech with us. Now we will go on to our next session, which is the table topic session, to be led by William. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Is everyone able to see and hear me properly? My camera's been a little fickle today, so hopefully everything is okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Today, or tonight, we will be having another game show at your pleasure. And this one that I have carefully deliberated over is called If I Was in Charge. We all are future leaders, but in order to be a leader, we have to think like one. These questions will inspire your thought for leadership going forwards in various different situations. All right. I'd like to first start off by inviting Ethan as our first participant on tonight's game show. Ethan, you just became principal of your high school. What's the most important rule you'd change?
There are a lot of options. you even if I am even if I do become the principal in my high school, that does not mean I'm immune to microorganisms and the harmful effects on the body. As you could hear, I'm quite nasally. But anyways, if I became the principal in my high school, there are a lot of things that I would change. However, one thing sticks out quite powerfully to me. Does your school have pep rallies and other sorts of activities where a sports team is leaving for a big competition and the entire school gets into an assembly to cheer them on? I'm sure many of your schools have this as well. So does mine. While this is not necessarily a bad thing because school spirit is quite important, I can't help but feel that if other areas, both academic and extracurricular at our school, received the same encouragement, then they would thrive much more. For example, I'm a member of the school's orchestra, and twice a school year we go out to perform before a panel of 3 judges in the two most important competitions in the school year. However, the only encouragement we receive is internal. Similarly, hundreds, if not thousands, of students in the school will take the AP exams in May. The only encouragement they receive is from themselves and from their circle of closest friends and their instructor. I feel that if school spirit could be extended to more areas than just sports, then that these areas and the students that inhabit them would thrive much more. Thank you for listening to my extremely sick sounding TED Talk, and back to Table Topics Master William before I make some interesting noise.
Thank you, Ethan. I'm sure that all the students at your high school will appreciate this change, and I'm sure it will bring about a positive influence in academics and extracurriculars aside from athletics as well. And I do hope that on behalf of the future leaders here tonight, Ethan gets better. I know there's been a nasty flu circulating around all 50 states, so hopefully you guys are staying healthy in these volatile weather conditions. Okay, moving on to our next speaker. I'd like to welcome up Devin, our special guest tonight, to our game show. Devin, all homework has now been made illegal. As the principal of your school, what will you have students do instead?
So if our homework is illegal, and if I am the principal of our school, I would probably first ask like every student and teachers what do they think they want to do. So this is because like if I just tell them what to do, they might think, bro, our homework is already illegal and you tell us what to do next. And that's so not fair. And we don't want to do it because homework always help us. And it's only your perspective. So I would probably first ask them. And I think they would probably, if there's kids, they would probably say, I want to play that, watch that, listen to that for sure. So then I'll talk about whether this will help them or not. And I think most of them will say they consider that it won't help them, but it's fun and they want to do it. So I will first let them try to do what they want. For example, for like a few days. And then they might be like, oh my God, I love this school. This principal is my dream principal. So they'll be like running, playing, whatever doing. But if I make the time longer, kids sometimes will feel like responsible and then feel scared sometimes if they do bad or stuff every day, every time, every second. So they will probably come up with a better idea. As a result, if the homework is illegal, I will first let them choose and then do what they say, as if it's legal or not. And then do what should we do? Because they might be reflects on what they done before. And I think also testing their moral and testing how responsible they are. And back to you.
Thank you so much, Principal Devin, for that mellifluous address to your school. I'd now like to invite up our next guest on tonight's television game show. We shall have Principal Caleb. Caleb, you've just been put in charge of a newly founded high school, the Caleb Van Brunt Academy of Arts and Sciences. What is one new subject you'd add to the curriculum?
If there was one new subject I would add to my high school, it would be critical thinking. One thing that I've noticed in the high schools and just the students that are coming out of the US public school system is that the way that they are trained is simply how to do math, how to do this, or how to do that. And interestingly, I've done some research, and for example, for a research project regarding why we should not bring manufacturing back to the US, I was researching about the Chinese education system. And in China, the way that the education system is designed is so that the people who come out of that education system are prepared to go into industry. So the whole structure is different. And there is a focus on critical thinking, imagination, and things like that. And if you look at the Chinese economy, there is definitely a fruit to the way that they have structured their education system. However, in America, you take your AP classes, you take your science classes, and you're just learning how to do the math, how to do the science. And that's fine, but when you need to apply that in a specific setting, it becomes hard, and some students struggle with applying the tools that they learned in high school to an industry. And therefore, if there is one thing that I would do differently in my high school, I would create a program that cultivates innovation and creativity and critical thinking and incorporates all that into the already great curriculum that the United States has. But it will make it just a little bit better so that it can give the United States a competitive edge in world markets. Thank you, and back to you, William.
Thank you, Principal Caleb. Now, I'm sure the audience can tell that this principal has not only vision for his school, but vision for the entire American education system. So let's give him a round of applause for that. Moving on to our next featured guest on tonight's television show. That shall be Janya. Janya, welcome. You have not only been named as a principal of a school, but instead, a convention of world leaders has met, and you have been declared the new ultimate world ruler. If you could ban one annoying thing forever, what would that be and why?
Okay. If I could ban one thing forever, I would ban cell phones. I mean, I would still allow to use the old analog phones, which were used by clicking, which I somehow find interesting because the way they sound when you turn it is really, really nice to hear. Um, so I would ban cell phones because when people walk, they just walk. And yesterday I was walking in the corridor of my school, and there was this person who was walking in front of me. They were they just dashed into some people because they were watching their phone. So that was really sad because if it were somewhere in the roadside or somewhere outside the school where there'll be a lot of vehicles or very dangerous accidents could occur, then it would have been a pretty sad situation. And there are several other reasons. People don't talk nowadays. They just scroll through to the phones. And it has been annoying because for me, I don't get to use my phone in school, but my friends do. And I have to just sit there and watch them scroll, and that's kind of sad. I feel pretty lonely when they do that. I mean, yes, we don't talk much, so it's pretty lonely. So that's why I would like to ban cell phones.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
and back.
Thank you, world ruler Janya. Now for our next guest on television tonight, we have our wonderful Phoebe. So, Phoebe, many people have been thinking that the name the United States of America is too long a name and too complex as well. If you were in charge of renaming countries, what would the new name of the United States of America be? Phoebe, would you be willing to answer this question? If not, that's entirely fine. Okay, I'll move on and give this question instead to Rachel.
The United States of America, that is a mouthful. It has always taken everyone so long to simply get over with saying the name of our country. And people have been very frustrated about it for the last 250 something years. Well, until today, because now I think it's time that our country had a new name. And no, America does not work because America refers to North and South America, not just our country. I think we ought to name our country Lincoln Land. Does anyone know that today is Abraham Lincoln's birthday? Well, today would be the appropriate day to name our country Lincoln Land because, well, who was it that was responsible for the emancipation of a great percentage of the population that led to us being an inclusive country and a diverse one, and diversity is one of the things that makes America what it is. And we might not have this diversity in our country if it weren't for Abraham Lincoln. And although the Emancipation Proclamation was not until long after our country was founded, well, maybe it's a good time to change the name now because, after all, it has been that long. And it's a lot nicer and more concise to say than the United States of America. Whoa, a mouthful again. Anyway, we really should be calling our country Lincoln Land. Thank you, and back to you, Table Topics Master William.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I think Lincoln Land is an especially fitting and mellifluous name for our great nation today. Moving on to our next world leader, who is Hillary. Hillary, you've recently been put in charge of redesigning our currency and our money. What are you putting, or who are you putting on the dollar bills?
In charge of redesigning our currency and our money, I would just keep it the same. I think our current currency is way too familiar for everybody to just suddenly change to a different currency. I would just keep it the same, and it's a win-win. Everybody keeps their familiar currency, and I don't have that much work to do.
Thank you, Hillary, for that answer. I agree. Actually, I wouldn't like to see any change to the currency that I know and hold dear to my own heart. And now for our final guest on our show tonight, we have Eliana. Eliana, you have been put in charge by mysterious forces to maintain at all costs world peace. How do you go about this arduous task?
If I were put in charge of keeping all the world peace, the first thing I would do is meet with a lot of the world leaders and find some agreement for everyone to go for and that everyone will agree with. And I would also make the army of our army to maybe send them out to areas that have a lot of conflict to maybe keep the peace, but also don't use that much violence to keep it. And I would make sure everyone is getting along. And if there's any disagreements, to talk it over in a group of maybe ambassadors or in an embassy and not go to war. And I would also keep some of our weapon factories, but also be more cautious about using them and only for defense. And I would also urge the other countries to do that too. And that's how I would keep the world peace. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, and that's a wrap for tonight's game show. I'd now like to hand control of our meeting back to our general evaluator, who is Rachel.
Thank you, William, for a very enjoyable and thought-provoking table topic session. And now we will be proceeding to the evaluations, with the first evaluator being Caleb. Whenever you're ready, take it away, Caleb.
Thank you, Rachel. Angelina, congratulations on another wonderful speech. Tonight's evaluation will be divided into 3 parts. First off, what you did well. Second, what you could do to improve. And lastly, what you can challenge yourself with. First off, I want to highlight that your voice flowed very well and it helped to keep us engaged to your topic about your recent, well, not so recent trip to China. You had a great structure, and I appreciated the chronological order. It helped everyone to concentrate on your topic. Now for some things to improve. Try to use some more vocal variety. For example, we went to a park. Imagine the largest park you've ever been to. This is the, I forget the exact name, but like the Hangzhou Park. And then you can describe there were flowers, and then there were little temples. And you can use your voice to further bring us into your topic. Also, I challenge you to use more hand gestures. I could only see from about the chest down of your face, and I'm not sure if you were using hand gestures, but if it is possible, stand up and we would be able to see your hand gestures a lot easier. Now lastly, to challenge you, bring us in medias res. This is Latin for in the middle. For example, you can start your speech by saying, imagine you pulled up to your relative's house and suddenly there were fireworks. I was so confused. And then you can go on to explain how this is a traditional Chinese cultural welcome. And then you can say, I was in China visiting my uncles, my aunts, my relatives. And then you can continue on with the story from there. And lastly, one last challenge is to send a deeper message at the end. We enjoy listening to your trip about China, but what do you want us to take from it? Maybe how you learned something new about the culture, or how you previously weren't as receptive to the Chinese culture, but you learned something new and you learned that 2 cultures can blend and merge together. But congratulations once again on a very logical, well-flowing speech, and I hope this helps to make next speech an even more wonderful speech. Thank you, and back to you, Rachel.
Thank you for that very constructive and helpful evaluation. And now we will be moving on to evaluator 2, Claire.
Thank you, General Evaluator Rachel. Michelle, we always appreciate your comedic touch and chaotic stories. Fellow Toastmasters and Michelle, today my evaluation will be divided into 3 parts: what you excelled at, what you may want to work on, and what you can challenge yourself with in future speeches. Firstly, Michelle, I loved your energy at the start of the speech. You came in with a lot of energy, yes, with the addition of your brother, but I loved how you came in with a smile and a loud voice. This drew us in to listen to your speech and pay attention to what you are going to say next. Having the right energetic tone at the start of your speech is great to set up your speech for greater success. Secondly, I enjoyed the lesson and positive approach that you took to the humorous stories you added. For example, you took a very positive approach after mentioning your stories. You did mention how you had some interesting interactions with your teachers, but afterwards you reflected on how your stories helped you to think about learning to work with others. This makes the audience reflect on their own experiences and think about maybe what are some instances when we were not so open-minded and how can we further improve to do what you mentioned in your speech. Now, I hope to work together with you to further improve your speech and make it more mellifluous. Firstly, what I would suggest is at the beginning, the appearance of your brother leading up to the classroom setting was an interesting transition. But I would suggest you start off with a stronger transition or connection to make sure it doesn't confuse the audience. If your brother is not directly involved in your speech, possibly leave him out during the start of your speech, or figure out a way to incorporate him humorously into your speech. This way, you can create a more focused introduction and lead us to the purpose and main topic of your speech so we can fully comprehend its contents. Secondly, I would suggest you practice showing, not telling, for the introduction as well as the rest of the speech. It would be much more improved if you could focus on a concise hook to your speech, and instead of directly stating the traits of the teachers, such as instead of saying, I struggled in this class, instead you could further show specifically how you struggled. This way, you can show the audience truly how you felt and make us feel those same feelings. And finally, to challenge yourself, I suggest you prioritize creating more focus in your speech. You started off with a great story, but it soon got confusing because did go a little bit off topic, as you mentioned, and this leaves the audience a little bit confused about the call to action of your story. So by focusing on a beginning, middle, and end specifically, you can help to tailor your speech specifically for the audience to comprehend. So to summarize, I loved how Michelle used energy and positivity, but by focusing a little more on a focused hook, showing not telling, and a focused speech structure, I'm so confident and excited that your future speeches will continue to sound more and more mellifluous. Thank you, and back to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Claire, for that evaluation. It was full of a lot of really good tips that we could all learn from in our own future speeches. Now we will be moving on to the counter report, which will be given by Ethan.
So I don't get my snot all over myself. I feel like we actually did pretty good in terms of crutch words today because I don't have that many tick marks on my spreadsheet. For speaker one, Angelina, I only caught one excessive pause. Brilliant. The speaker two, Michelle, I caught one repeat and one like. Although, to be honest with you, for Angelina's speech, she might have said a few more filler words, but her microphone's audio quality was dubious at best. It didn't sound very clear for some reason. I don't know if that is an issue specific to me or if it is a global issue that affected everybody. For Table Topics Master William, I wasn't able to catch anything. I was Table Topic Speaker 1. I definitely said at least twice, but that's probably not the most accurate self-assessment ever. Table Topic Speaker 2, Devin, 2 uhs, 5 likes, 1 repeat, and 1 pause. Table Topic Speaker 3, Caleb, I did not catch anything, as usual. Table Topic Speaker 4, Janya, 1 and 1 pause. Table Topic Speaker 5, Rachel, I caught 2 excessive pauses. Table Topic Speaker 6, Hillary, I wasn't able to catch anything, although that may be due to the small sample size of her speech. Table Topic Speaker 7, Eliana, I caught 1 repeat and 1 pause. And those are all the tick marks I have recorded on my spreadsheet. General Evaluator Rachel, Evaluator 1 Caleb, and Evaluator 2 Claire did surprisingly well just now. Right, back to you, General Evaluator Rachel.
Thank you, Ethan, for that report. And now we will be moving on to the grammarian report, which will be given by Janya.
Thank you, Rachel. Starting with the speaker one, Angelina. I liked her speech, but I've noticed that when she said given the money in a red packet, maybe you could change the given to presenting them or offering. Maybe that would I think that would have sounded much better. But I liked how you said vibrant history. And yeah. Coming to speaker to Michelle. I like how I didn't catch anything, maybe cause there was a lot of brother in there, but I think I actually did not catch. I mean, she was really good, so I didn't catch anything. But I like how she said quote unquote, quote up unquote, and deflect. Table topics, Master William. I like how you said to be a leader, you have to think like a leader. Coming to the table topics. Table topic speaker 1, Ethan. I didn't catch anything, but I also liked how you said, wait, oh, I'm so sorry. Ethan, I didn't catch anything. Coming to Devin, I also did not catch anything. Caleb, I liked how you said a competitive edge. I thought it was nice. Coming to Rachel, Rachel, I liked how you said odd and wait, I think I wrote this wrong. I'm so sorry. And coming to Hillary, I didn't catch anything. Eliana, I didn't catch. I also did not catch anything. Evaluator, Caleb. I liked how you said chronological order. Claire, evaluator to Claire. I like how you said call to action in the evaluation. Thank you, and back to you. Rachel.
Thank you, Janya, for that very detailed report. And now we will be moving on to the timer, Eliana's report.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So for the speaker 1, Angelina, you had a time of 8 minutes and 8 seconds, which was a bit over time, but it was a really good speech. And we had speaker 2, Michelle, 4 minutes and 5 seconds, which is a bit under time. And the table topic speaker 1, Ethan, was 1 minute and 39 seconds, which is perfect. And Devin was 2 minutes and 42 seconds, which is a bit over time for the 1 to 2 minutes. And table topic speaker 3, Caleb, was 1 minute and 47 seconds. Janya was 1 minute and 13 seconds. Rachel was 2 minutes and 7 seconds. And Hillary's was 26 seconds, which was a bit short. And I tried to time myself, and I think I was 1 minute and 20 seconds. And evaluator 1, Caleb, was 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Claire was 3 minutes and 59 seconds, which was a bit long, but the evaluations can be long since there's a lot to say. And our counter, Ethan, had a time of 1 minute and 27 seconds. And Grammarian Janya had a time of 1 minute and 52 seconds. That's all. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Eliana, for that report. And now it's time for my general evaluation. I think today was pretty smooth. Everything happened on time when it was supposed to, and most people were able to show up, and there wasn't a lot of confusion. The speeches were very interesting, as well as the table topics. They encouraged us to think like leaders, and that's what we are called to do when we are here. and all the evaluations, including the functionary reports, were really good as well. And I have no further comments. I thought today was a really good meeting. Now I will be returning control to the Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Yes, I agree. This was a great meeting, and well, you said that we are called to be leaders here, but we really are all the time. So thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing with us your report, and thank you to everyone who participated in tonight's meeting. Everything went very well, and I would like to hand it back over to our president, Claire.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Caleb. Thank you to everyone who participated in today's meeting. I greatly enjoyed it. Thank you to our speakers for the day, Angelina. We always love hearing about your travel experiences. Thank you to Michelle for sharing your personal stories and reflecting on a lesson you learned. And thank you to a great table topic session hosted by William. We love that it aligned with the name of our own club. And great job to the functionaries, as usual, for a smooth meeting and awesome reports and evaluations. So just a couple of quick things. As usual, if you have any suggestions, you can submit the form that is found in the agenda emails. I'm working on finding some workshop speakers. So if there is any topic you're interested in, whether it's specific or general, please just let us know. That way we can specifically find some things for your guys' interests. And also the bank account for FLGC is still being set up. So we will announce more information about that in a future meeting regarding the membership fees. And as for that, is there anyone who has any questions, comments, or feedback about the meeting tonight? Okay, if not, thank you so much, everyone. And I believe at exactly 7 p.m. Pacific time, I will adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you everyone for coming in, and we will see you all next Wednesday. Bye everyone.